You're listening to Head to Head, a Star Wars podcast. Two fans, two generations, all things Star Wars begins now.
All right, well, hello, everybody. I'm Eric Vansel.
And I'm Daryl Sanders.
And we are your hosts for this show, as always, doing another episode of Visions. This is always the favorite time, for you. It's like, hey, just think about it. After today's episode, it's just 7 more episodes to go.
Yep.
But we're reviewing episode 2 tonight. Again, these things did all drop. So all 9 episodes are on Disney Plus right now. If you want to check them out, you can totally just go on, watch them all. But we decided to, in some ways, torture ourselves and, do them one at a time. All right. So Ted, of course, basically gets us started off right away. Ted's joining us, as he usually does. He says it was an enjoyable episode for me. Now, one that didn't actually hit, he went and left something before the show, so I don't think it actually registered in our whole chat thing, but he said, it was a fun, lighthearted adventure, and sometimes that is enough for me. And I mean, I get it.
Yeah,
And
I get that.
honestly, I mean, again, I do sometimes wish in these episodes there was a little bit more context, but I will say this. At least I totally understood this episode. I thought it actually had, a cool thing. I mean, I guess my only real complaint is that, unlike some of the episodes of, say, last season, it's almost like that is all it was. It was like a really lighthearted adventure. But I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. Go ahead.
I could.
I get that out of the way.
Right. No, I would agree. It was a good, lighthearted adventure. I think the only critique or criticism I would have, and it's just, for me, I think it may be nitpicky a bit. Because I do recognize, let me just say that I do recognize that it's anime. I do recognize that it's an animated thing, so you have to suspend, have a certain level of suspension of disbelief just because of the medium, right?
I think I know what you're going to talk about. I want to see if I'm right. Let me see if I'm right.
But the thing was just okay, some things were just too fantastical. It's okay, really?
Armor mode, perhaps?
That's one of them. The other one was okay, the seismic charges. They're dropping, the Empire is dropping these seismic charges. Number one, it would take them out too. Two, it's okay, when you see those things did in Attack of the Clones, when Jango was being pursued by Obi-Wan, those things were concussive, man. And you mean to tell me this little girl on this little speeder bike is just surviving all these bomb drops? There's no way. I mean, she does eventually fall off the thing, but I mean, it was after 9 of them. It was man, after the first one, get out of there. So it's just okay, really?
No, I mean, I will say that even though, and again, this one actually reminded me more of a speed racer. What was another one? Oh man, it was on when I was a kid. It was the Mighty.
Was Danger Mouse?
No. I wish I can remember, but it had the same style of animation, and the adventure and everything was kind of the same. It was more in that style, and like you, I get it. You do have to suspend disbelief, even for something like this, right? But it was the thing that I think, and I can just get us started here with this. This whole thing started in a really grounded way. Obviously, you have this kingdom that they refer to that, Princess Crane was once a part of. Yep. And, oh man, what's the Mon Calamari guy's name? I always,
Oh, the Admiral.
yeah, basically the Akbar stand-in. Um, you get this exchange between the two of them where it's like, okay, there's some exposition. And see, this is the kind of thing that I really like about this is the fact that you're not dropped into this weird symbolic sort of surrealistic thing, like say the last episode was, or some of these other things where it's really a bunch of abstract scenes that are tied together by a common theme. I think that's probably the best way to describe a lot of these more surrealistic Visions episodes.
Mm-hmm.
This one is a little bit more done in, I think, kind of an anime short type of style, right? So, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you start out where you get this exposition about, her and how she had to go it alone, after their village was destroyed, and she's like the last of this, like, I don't want to say race, but maybe village,
Colony or something like that.
kingdom
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah. And,
Almost like a Siege of Mandalore, or it was very reminiscent, honestly, of the either Siege of Mandalore or the Mandalorian, kind of the same thing. When he was like, hiding out, you could use even the newer canon where you have Rogue One when
I was gonna
Saw
say there's a
Gerrera,
little bit of Jyn Erso's thing in
Jyn
there.
Erso, yep.
I mean,
saw,
there's some Princess Leia in this,
yep,
without question. So
oh
I
yeah,
mean,
especially that gun she had. I'm like,
yeah, just the way that she was, going around and holding it and stuff. It's like, yeah, I mean, this is like
her rebellious nature. Yeah,
the fact she's a princess.
that
I mean,
too.
it basically does harken back. And again, there's a lot of really cool callbacks in this thing. I mean, I like the thermal detonator thing. I liked just, the snow troopers, the fact that they basically converted like a sand crawler into like this mining vessel
Yeah,
in this,
that was
in
sweet.
the snow. I mean, there's definite callbacks to both the prequels and the original trilogy, and also, again, this story started out very grounded.
Yeah,
And
I
then
agree.
it just
I mean,
and then
go
it
ahead.
just kind of went it all went all like Transformers, and he had the AT-AT like springing out. Like, I'm like, is this thing gonna turn into like some bizarro Optimus
Autobot.
Prime kind of thing? Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Or something, and then she's kind of like, okay, armor mode, which I actually thought was cool, but the problem that I had wasn't so much with that whole scene, but it's the fact that when you juxtapose it with the way that it started out, it was a little startling to me.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot. I mean, they did a. First of all, let me give kudos. They probably don't get a whole lot of that from me, especially coming to Vision. So take it while
I
you
was
can.
gonna say, you don't usually use the word kudos when we're reviewing
Exactly.
Visions. I'll never forget there was one time we reviewed an episode. It was less than 10 minutes.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
you just
I had
because
nothing.
that was the
I had
problem.
nothing.
That was the problem. You didn't hate it enough. You didn't like it at all. But the problem was you were more or less indifferent to it. And I remember I even had a problem. Like, usually I can find something, but I'm like, I don't know what to talk about. I don't even know what I just saw.
What is this? Exactly.
And I remember, I think it was like an 8.5 minute episode. Like, all right, well, technically we went live. So that fulfills our whole agreement for the
Contractual
week. But
obligation, right?
yeah, unsurprisingly, I don't think that one necessarily, is one of our highest viewed videos.
No, but this for this to be only 17 minutes, right? Runtime. 17-minute episode. Most of these are like hovering around 23, 25 minutes, somewhere around there. I thought they put a lot of callbacks to various different things without it making it feel like it was forced in, no pun intended. So we always talked about like the Princess Leia thing. This obviously has Empire Strikes Back overtones because of it kind of looks like Hoth, you know. But if you look at the photo, like she's riding a scout bike from Return of the Jedi.
Yes.
She eventually, her droid eventually morphs into basically an X-wing that's like a jetpack. Cool. I mean, I will give them that. It was kind of cool. Um, let's see. There was the whole New Hope callback when you could see in her heads-up display where it's like she's trying to hit like this little hole. I'm like, okay, callback there. Um, of course, the Admiral Akbar character, which is reminiscent of Return of the Jedi. We also had the Gregorian, um, which kind of reminds you of Grogu in a way. They basically made him like a Grogu type
Yeah,
character,
I
especially when
definitely
he was
got
able to
that
use the
vibe.
Force. Yeah,
Yes.
because he was cute and he was this little thing, and he's hiding, and you know it definitely gave you
Well,
a
the other thing
Grogu
is
type
he's rare,
situation.
right?
Yeah, he's rare.
This
He used the Force.
Gorin or whatever. Yeah, he basically was a rare species or something. Yep,
Hmm.
Force user. I mean, there definitely was something there. And I mean, you're right in the sense that I think that it was brilliant in the way that it was able to tie in a lot of these different elements. And the other thing, I thought the pacing was actually pretty good in this too.
It was. It was. And even they brought it in even they used Rebels because the whole, what was it? Axiom? That's what they were mining for, which is dealing with the hyperspace, which we saw that appear a lot in Rebels, especially dealing with the Purgil and, all that. So, hyperspace lanes is where, I mean, granted, they mentioned that in books, but like very rarely do we didn't hear a lot about that in a visual medium until you got to Rebels, and now even Ahsoka. So I was impressed about how they were able to unite a lot of different Star Wars canon into this short 17-minute episode. I mean, that was, like I said, impressive, and it didn't feel forced at all. She kind of reminds me, Princess Crane definitely had Leia, but also reminded me very much of Sabine
Yeah, yeah,
as far as her attitude,
absolutely.
of her, the her ability to kind of like, especially that whole, I was calling her little 8-track player that she had in her in Tor 2,
Well, the
because
thing
it kind
that's
of reminded me of when she played the music. What was it? What was that in
it was
Ahsoka?
Ahsoka, yeah.
Yeah, season 1. So yeah, stuff like that.
Well, the thing that's funny is like because that was the thing. So in Ahsoka season 1, when she did that, it was kind of jarring and it didn't fit, and it felt very much like you know, um, J.J. Abrams' Star Trek to me. Like if
Right.
it had
This
been
was the perfect medium
sabotage,
for
I
it,
would have
though.
like would have totally would have had it. Right, but this it made sense
It made sense because it's visions.
because right, and I mean the thing is, it's kind of an anime type of thing. The music track was
Mm-hmm.
kind of a Japanese inspired anime sounding, typical
Yep.
music track, right? So I mean, and it
Mm-hmm.
was, but the thing that was really funny to me was that I remember she was talking about she was never going to get rid of the droid because he's one of a
All
kind
right.
and he's the only one that can play her little
Music.
A tracks or whatever. And I started thinking like, man, that's almost like when we all still have like an old VHS player laying around for
Yep.
because
Just
it's
because of
only
that movie.
yeah, or like some home video thing that we somebody shot like on your
Oh
grandmother's
yeah.
birthday or something, and it's kind of
Yeah.
like, man, I never burned this to anything or digitized it. So there's a lot in there, and of course, look, you have the same themes. You get somebody who basically disobeys the orders and goes off and rescues and they're learning more about themselves and they're learning to be leaders. It's basically like the Han Solo, Poe Dameron, even
Mm-hmm.
Finn to a degree,
Yep.
um, all of that stuff. The rebellion and hope, the courage over command. I mean, it's just a lot of the same themes, but it was done in a way that felt more unique rather than something that's just been revisited.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And that's the thing I liked about this is because it felt like Star Wars. This is when we say things have to feel like Star Wars. There are certain tropes and there are certain devices that are like, okay, this is we should be able to kind of like, okay, identify what's going on. The other thing is, question for you: do you feel like fans of Star Wars are enjoying stories that deal with non-force users as opposed to the force users? Do you think they're enjoying that more or less?
Well, see, that's a really difficult question to answer, not as a cop out or anything, but because,
Hmm.
so you look at the success of Andor and you would say,
Hmm.
okay, Andor is arguably the most successful series that's been released consistently for critical acclaim and fan acclaim. And that's
Hmm.
not a force centric thing at all. Then, of course, you look at The Mandalorian, the flagship. It started out as a non force using thing. I mean, granted, it has a lot in there now,
Hmm.
but still, it's focusing on a non force using person.
Hmm.
The reason why I say that it's difficult to answer, though, is because when you look at all the force centric shows, a lot of them have a lot of issues. They're either
Hmm.
poorly written or they're, poorly executed, or so it's really difficult. Are people responding to the non-force using shows more because that's what they're really into, or are they focusing more on it because it's just a better
Mm.
show?
Mm.
It's
Yeah, because I think it seems like, and you make very good points, because I think it seems like when we're looking at Star Wars, it seems like it's harder for people to write for Force users just because of the rules and the things that come with it. And I think some people try to do too much with it because of this power. It's almost like, like we always talked about, it's a godlike power. So sometimes you want to just, you know, go over the top with it. And understandably so, because then we also make the criticism like, well, like you always, joke about the force speed thing. Why don't you use that any other time? Why was it just only in that moment that you used the force speed just to show us that you can do it? And then there's been plenty of other times where you could have used that and it would have saved you a whole lot of time. But of course, it kind of cheapens the tension sometimes because you have to be careful because when you have these godlike powers, it's like, well, this thing should have been over in 20 minutes. It's you can't make a 2 hour movie off of that because this thing should have been over in like 20 minutes. So I think a lot of people have issues with writing for these type of abilities that really don't have any limits. Like Superman, he has a set amount of powers. He can fly. He's invulnerable basically to except for magic and stuff like that. Um,
yeah, and kryptonite.
of course, kryptonite is his weakness. Different forms of kryptonite are weaknesses for him. Aside of just him being a Boy Scout, and that's a whole different type of weakness. But we know he has X-ray vision, heat vision, the cold breath, super breath, and he's super fast. Okay, at least we have a parameter as far as his limitations. Same goes with most heroes, like with Batman or the Flash. Flash isn't invulnerable, but he just moves so fast he might as well be. So with the Force, though, you pretty much can do anything you want. I mean, the only thing we haven't seen anyone do is fly with it, and that's just because, and kind of we kind of have in a way with Mary Poppins, Princess Leia. So again, it's like you don't have any rules that govern what you can do with the Force. So it kind of it's a cool thing because it gives you an open platform, but at the same time, it causes issues because you just never know what. Oh, okay, you're just gonna do this now. Well, when did that happen? You know what I mean?
Well, there's just so much to say about this. Part of the problem with the Force using is that it becomes more about being a plot device to move the story from point A to point B than it does actually fleshing out these characters and their powers. That's number one. The second thing is, that's why when Lucas was doing it, at least for a while, it was more on a linear path. I mean, you started out the story where it's like the Jedi are all but extinct and they don't really want to show off their powers because then, the Empire would hunt them down, essentially. Then you go back, you see them in their zenith. But Lucas more or less put some parameters on them, because I agree, that's another thing, right, is the fact that Superman, what the limitations of his powers. Every once in a while, maybe in the different ages in the comic series you might have, because like in the original,
yeah, he couldn't fly. He could just jump.
He couldn't fly. He could just jump, and it wasn't until I think the Silver Age that he was able to then fly. So I mean, there was an expansion there, but still, and the other thing too, I mean, just going into like the Rocky series, right? Every opponent was just a little bit more vicious and a little tougher to beat until you got to Drago. And I think where Star Wars is at now is kind of where Rocky was at after 4. It's like, okay, now he goes and he fights Tommy Gunn, and we're all like, well, wait a second. Like, this guy just beat Drago.
Yeah, he's gonna let this little punk actually.
There is no universe where this would even be a matchup. Because even if you go back to Apollo, Clubber Lang, and Drago, those guys would have wiped the floor with Tommy Gunn. And Rocky beat all of them. So you have this issue where you keep upping the ante, so to speak, to the point where, even the expanded universe, it's like, well, now we got to create the Yuuzhan Vong, because it's like, who else could stand against? We've made these Jedi so powerful at this point and that's what happened with Superman too. I mean, you had to start creating like Apocalypse and Darkseid and all those guys, like these otherworldly beings, because, bank robbers just weren't cutting it anymore. I mean, you basically had to do that. And I think that that's part of what is so difficult about writing for the Jedi is, one, not to be lazy about it. The second thing is, not to, we need a way to get this character out of here. Oh, I know. Let's invent a new force power that does that. It's like, no. Let's just agree where the limitations are. And I mean, I understand from their standpoint what they're trying to do. It's like, well, as you get somebody who is more powerful in the Force, obviously they're unlocking new things. And it might not even be that. It might be somebody like Qui-Gon that's like, hey, I know the 10,000 years before, nobody knew about this, but I kind of discovered this whole little Force ghost thing. It's...
All right.
Well, it wasn't like he was, you'd think that would, like somebody like Yoda would have figured that out first.
Exactly.
So I mean, there's just all kinds of contradictions. So I think that it's easier to write a more human drama with non-Force users, because now they have the same limitations. It's a little bit more grounded of a story. And I mean, honestly, I think that that's where this particular episode, really comes in handy. Now, let's get Ted in here. He said, with Visions, the music fits. And then he also says that at least with a story about a non-Force user, you don't have to worry about as much about the creators messing with the lore, intentionally or accidentally.
That's true.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. And I just think that one of the things that I enjoy about Visions, I can't say that I don't enjoy the stories where they do include Jedi and Sith. I do. It's just, I think that it's easier to digest the ones where you don't have to factor that in. Because I also think that it's a temptation to get a little bit more wild when you're dealing with that. and I'm not even talking about just with the action, because clearly this thing went like completely in a different direction for that last, third of the show or whatever. You're like, whoa, what's going on?
Hey, but kudos to those scout walkers. Those are sort of the way they popped up from under the ice, and then they look almost like they got a makeover, like the clone. I mean, not the clone. The stormtroopers did for the First Order.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. I immensely enjoyed that, actually. Like I said, one of the things that I really enjoyed about this episode a lot was the fact that they did take some influences from the prequels and the original trilogy, and actually did something creative with it. And I think that it's important that you do that because, again, I guess it's not really written in stone anywhere, but I just think that it would be nice to, if you're going to do these reimagination of Star Wars in a more anime form, and you're going to take all kinds of weird liberties anyway, I like the callbacks to that because it actually makes it feel more like I'm watching a Star Wars project and not a Star Wars influenced anime project.
Yeah, I can see that.
That's the biggest issue that I had. Now, this thing was called like the Four Wings or something. Was it
Four Wings of Song or something like that?
Yeah. And so now I'm trying to figure out
the Song of Four Wings, yes.
The Song of Four Wings. Something like that. We were going to get there eventually, everybody. But how did you feel that I mean, where do you feel that played a role?
Well, the whole it really tied in. And again, I liked how they used it because I thought it was clever. And this is what we were talking about earlier, Eric, context. So in the beginning of the show, it starts off, she puts in her little 8-track and, she's playing the music. We said that was reminiscent of Sabine from Ahsoka, right? Now, again, we agree that it fits in Visions because of what anime is. What I liked was that the music that she was listening to is directly tied to her home world or her kingdom or village that she
lost. At the end, though, I think that was the point.
Yeah, it was like, because we found out at the end, it's just like, and that's why she didn't want to get rid of the droid, because there's a certain bit of loyalty and her identity is tied to, and she kept saying throughout the whole thing, like, you have a purpose and so do I. Like, the reason why these things have happened to us because we have a destiny, we have a purpose. We're just trying to find it. And along the way, the little origami type things were the Gregorians, tied to his culture. The music is tied to her culture. So at the very end, like, I like the fact that it was brought up again, because that's what she said. Like, I can't get rid of, Tortu because he's the only thing that can play, and that I need that because that, and they
but
played it throughout
I almost wonder if
episode.
But I wonder if that thing in the first scene, it almost seemed to me like it was a rediscovery and a re-embracing of her past. Because remember, before she was like, well, the Admiral was more like, yeah, you gotta, get rid of the past, do all that stuff. And, she was, right.
Yeah.
And she was basically listening to that, I guess, for lack of a better term, Star Wars pop music of the day. I don't know. But at the end, though,
Star
when
Wars
she was
Taylor Swift.
Right. But at the end, when she was actually listening to that more traditional song from her world, and she was talking about that, it was almost like she was reconnecting with her past in a way that she hadn't before. Because, like you said, she had rediscovered her purpose because, her mom was just like, okay, look, you got to leave.
Hmm.
good luck. Grow up well, and
Yeah.
we'll see you
And the
later.
things I taught. Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and I think, like you said, when she said that during the battle, you have a purpose, I have a purpose too. It's almost like, okay, she's very much the same way as I think Finn did. It's weird because for some reason I'm referencing the sequel trilogy a lot in a
I know.
positive way. But
Yeah.
but it was a nice rediscovery, right? Finn started out trying to run away from something, and then by the end he was running toward it
Hmm.
and basically going, no, I'm not going to run away and try to live a life and ignore all this. In some ways, it even mirrored Han Solo's journey in that sense.
Which
But
I also her ship kind of was very reminiscent of the Millennium Falcon. Forgot about that.
yeah, I mean, there was that too. I mean, it was. And that was not lost on me either. David says, "Hello, gentlemen. It's Star Wars Day. Sorry I'm late. Did Daryl have an aneurysm watching this week's episode?" No, 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 no. We're
I'm still in good health.
actually, we're we're talking quite positively,
Yeah, this is
actually.
actually, yeah.
And I mean, to that point, because like you said, it did feel like it was tied in a lot of ways. It had a lot of influences from The Empire Strikes Back.
Hmm.
At least it seemed rooted in that because it was a snow planet. And in that, Luke was another one that he was really beginning his journey in earnest, right? In A New Hope, he was being introduced to it. Now, in Empire Strikes Back, he's really starting it. Now, of
Hmm.
course, we get all that in 17 minutes of this episode, and that's something that you brought up early on, is the fact that, yeah, it's actually amazing that they were able to have a well-paced episode that was only 17 minutes long and yet had all of this in
Richness,
it.
basically. I mean, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. I was
And it's tough. And
pleasantly surprised. Yeah, definitely.
and that's one of the reasons why, look, if we were a Star Wars channel that was really interested in, maximizing view. I mean, we are. Don't get me wrong. I don't want to give the wrong impression here, but I mean, if that's all we were interested in, we probably wouldn't cover this. In fact, there's only a handful of channels that even review Visions, and usually, if they do, I believe they're doing them all at once. Like, hey, here's
Yeah,
a
just
review of the entire series, and they talk about it, and it's one and done. Because I don't. I mean, look, they keep making them, so somebody's got to be watching them. But I don't necessarily think that the Star Wars fan base is going like, man, I really hope somebody reviews Visions on YouTube.
yeah, right.
But at the same time, see, that's the thing. Being that we're more of a discussion-based versus news-based show, I always find with each of these passing seasons some merit in discussing them episode by episode for that reason, actually, because there is a lot in there. I mean, for lack of a better phrase.
Yeah,
Now, granted,
yeah.
I mean, I was second guessing that in season 1.
My
I
God.
mean,
Yeah, writing it
season,
all down.
yeah, season 1 was. I mean, there were some redeeming episodes in there, but it was a tough watch. I'm not gonna lie.
Definitely.
And I remember that one of the things that was pretty funny about it was you were convinced that there wouldn't be a season 2. Like after this,
Yeah.
like nobody is gonna want a season 2,
Here we are on 3. Like,
and now we're on 3. But
I was
again,
wrong.
they're cool, and even the next one. So now the next episode is gonna be another sequel one, kind of like the last one. But the nice thing is, I remember that the episode from season 1, to which the next episode is a sequel, I remember we liked that one.
Hmm.
So it should be cool. But this, again, this is something that I did find myself, honestly, besides the fact that it was a really well-paced, enjoyable watch, I thought to myself, I mean, if there was another episode that featured this character and a little bit of her world,
Yeah, if there was a
I'd
series, I
be
mean,
up
I'm
for it.
already. Yeah, if there
Yeah,
was a series, I would watch it.
I'd
Yeah,
watch it. Yeah,
based off her. Yeah.
yeah, and that is a very rare thing for us to say
Tell me about it.
about
Tell me about it.
any character in Visions. Like, I like the Ronin character a lot. I just don't like the way that they keep dropping him into these like really weird, symbolic, bizarre adventures.
Hmm.
Even though I did like the last episode, I remember both of us actually liked it, but I remember both of us, it was kind of like it took a couple of minutes into the episode to really get into what was going on. And then once you saw what was going on, it's like, oh, okay, this is okay.
Yeah.
By contrast, this one pretty much grabs you immediately.
Hmm. Yeah.
And, you're basically saying, like, you know what? If they had the continuing adventures of Princess Crane, I'd be up for it. Now, do you think that she's... I mean, it's tough to probably remember, but do you think that she's like one of the more powerful non-Force users in the Visions world?
Uh, yeah, that's a hard question to answer because I basically have to go through 2 seasons of the show.
Yeah, like that's
And
going to happen.
first and foremost,
So, I don't
secondly,
necessarily think that I care that much about the answer to
exactly.
that question.
That's really my answer. For the sake of your question, though, um, I don't know. I mean, I think she's her story is one of the cooler ones, though. I definitely will give her that. I can't say whether it's because she's a non-force user or not, but I just think that her way her story is told, and it it definitely lends to um, more interesting, more enjoyable. Um, I will say, like I said, I thought it was kind of cheesy at first, but then I quickly enjoyed the whole, droid turn it into like a baby jetpack X-wing that came with can. I mean, I was like, okay, this is.
It was a very unique thing. I
It
mean,
was very
again,
unique, and I was like, at first, I was like, this is stupid. Oh wait, this is actually kind of cool. It was just like almost like a weird shift within the same thought. It was just like, this is stupid, kind of cool, actually. It was one of
right.
those.
This is stupidly cool.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I think the biggest, like I said at the beginning of this episode, I think the biggest problem for me was not a lot of that stuff as much as it was the fact that it was such a tonal shift from the first part of the episode.
Yeah, the thing that caught me the most off guard, and I will say it was a good twist, because I thought so. It was weird because at one point I did think this, and then I didn't think it, and then they did it, and I was like, "Ugh, I should have went with my first thought." But they tricked me because when she turned into basically to a little jetpack X-wing, and the cannons wouldn't fire, like I'm thinking that okay, Tor 2 was going to be the one that was going to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
But then when the Gregarian like used the force to fix it, I was just like, oh, because I didn't think there was going to be any force in this. And then that happened. I was just like, okay, so this thing is basically now it's really Baby Yoda at this point, or Grogu. And
Well, the thing that I
you
remember,
know,
it's funny that you bring that up because I remember when I first was watching that, I'm like, is that like a standard household outlet?
yeah, that was what
Like, are we just getting to the point where we're like,
yeah, that was
what should we make it look
hilarious.
like? I don't know, man. Just make it look like
Just
the outlet on the
just
wall.
put a
Just
wall plug in.
yeah, just put a wall plug in it.
It's not
Like,
even a USB. It's just
we're not even trying anymore. We're just like, you know what? Screw it. Just make it look like an outlet.
that was hilarious. Yeah, I thought that was priceless.
I
I was
mean,
like, wait,
I was thinking that, like, I remember when I was first watching it, I'm like, wow, I think that's an outlet. Are we just We're just out
It
of
was this guy.
ideas.
Yeah, this guy. Screw it.
But I mean, the thing that was cool about the whole scene, though, was the fact that, they made the AT-ATs a little bit menacing.
Yeah.
They gave you that whole subplot, about, hey, look, they're not interested in our kingdom. They got this whole full-blown mining operation and everything. So
Mhm.
and that's something that was definitely present even in the last episode. As surrealistic as it was presented, it had a relatively grounded story.
Yeah.
And we're 2 episodes in. I mean, granted, a lot of the people that are watching this have probably blown through all 9 of them by now.
Mhm.
So I should preface this by saying that we're actually watching these week by week.
Yeah.
So yes, some of the comments might seem out of place. Like, for instance, I'm about to say that I like the direction of this season so far in so much as that it seems to have more grounded stories. That, sure, episode 1, it took a couple of minutes to pick up on that, but this one hits right away. So I'm curious. And I remember Ronaldo was really big when we were watching these. Like, he was really big on visions.
Mhm.
And I remember it's one of the things I miss, is that he would say, ooh,
Yeah, he would
well, you
predict,
guys
like,
might
which
not like
episodes.
episode 6, but
Yeah, he would.
but you'll love episode 5. He would do stuff like that, right?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. Like, he kind of knew what we liked and
yeah,
what we
he
didn't
knew what
like.
we liked, and he would actually, like, clue in on, okay, if you guys are liking this about episode 2, then when episode 7 hits, you're gonna lose your minds, that kind of thing.
Mhm. Yeah.
And that was nice that he would give us that kind of direction.
Plus, it always made me want to watch it because he said, like, "Oh, we would love it." So, like, now I got to see if he's right.
Well, and the thing that was bad would be, if it was like the next episode or even the episode after, it wouldn't be so bad. But if it was like 3 episodes
Down.
away, I'm like, man, do I just watch it? And
Right.
like,
Or do I
no,
just
I'll be
wait?
good. I'll just wait a month, All right, Ted says,
Right.
as long as they are not quote unquote bad, I think any legit Star Wars movie and TV series channel should be covering these, in my opinion. It's not like there's a lot of actual new content.
Got a point.
He's not wrong. He is not wrong. And that's true. Yeah, I mean, look, I think that people are missing out by not at least watching these things once. And here's another thing, too, because you and I a lot of times will watch them, right before we go on. At least we have this season. For the first time, I'm actually watching Visions twice every week.
Right.
And it's a testament to this season that I have like 0 problems watching these episodes again and getting more out of them, by the way.
Mm.
So, it's a good trend. It is a
Well,
good trend.
let's see if he keeps going with the whole Ninth Jedi. I think that's the next episode.
Yeah, it's or the
24
Ninth
minutes
Child
too,
or something. Oh, do you actually have it up? Do you know?
No, I mean, I just kind of remember. I think it's like the Ninth Jedi. That was called.
Yeah, the Ninth Child or something. It was something like that. But it was whatever colon and then whatever the title is for the sequel. Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping that it continues because, well, number one, I mean, if we're gonna commit to reviewing these, I hope that
Yeah,
at least
I
most
want
of
them
them
to
are
be-
good. Sometimes
exactly.
it's fun if there's a really bad one because then we can just kind of
Yeah.
tear on it
Yeah,
and have fun with it.
flex my
You know?
muscles a bit.
Yeah, get the I can't even say
Yeah.
that anymore because David likes Andor now. But
Right, get the Ginsu knives out.
but
Start
like
shredding it.
the season 1 stuff, yeah, it's sometimes it's kind of fun to shred the stuff. But I am pleasantly surprised that, you know what, we can watch Visions, get some enjoyment out of it, and, some really good discussion points. Because again, I do think that people are missing out. It's not so much a lore thing because none of this stuff is really official,
Right.
but it is interesting when you're seeing these themes applied to this medium and some of the I mean, for us, they're discussion points. But I'm trying to think of, what you would call it if you're just like sitting there and watching it, right? Like you're not, unless you're off your meds, you're not discussing it with yourself. So,
What did you think? It was great.
yeah, exactly. Although I don't know. I guess now, you could just start your own channel and just talk.
Schizophrenic podcast.
Yeah, that's it. You basically have like a box for each one of you. Like it's you, but you're in all the boxes with all these
It's
like personalities. The schizophrenic podcast.
I would watch that.
I
'Cause
would,
that would be,
you know what?
because that would be hilarious.
It almost makes me want to see the way that you do it is you have these conversations, but you do like one camera angle at a time, and then you just put them in the
Yep.
boxes so they're all talking to each other.
Yep.
That'd be, if it was done right, that would actually be entertaining. But then again, we haven't even done our entertainment exchange show yet,
Right.
which, by the way, more people have been bugging me about. Like, we'll talk about a movie and they'll turn to me and say, see, if you'd had your show on here,
Yeah.
you guys could talk about it. And if you talked about it, I would watch it. So,
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people tell me that. Like, dude, the only reason why I don't watch your show is because it's Star Wars. That right there
Yeah.
shows you how much Star Wars has fallen, right?
Well, I mean, there was a big part where, even at the height of Star Wars being as popular as it was, even then, that still was, I mean, it just didn't, space doesn't always apply to everybody. Like, people just don't get into it.
No, that is a good point, actually. That it's still a niche thing. It's still, I mean, it was widely popular, but it's like, it's one thing, because here's where most people fall, I think. You have people that they enjoy the movies, but it's another level to watch a show like ours,
Right.
where you're discussing it like this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, people are like, I remember a few people watched the show, they're like, wow, man, I didn't even know.
Talk about it.
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
even know you could. It blows my mind that you can do this. Like, it just, I don't know. Shouldn't
Yeah.
you be doing something else? If you can talk about Star Wars to this degree, you think maybe
Yeah,
maybe there's something a little off about you. But hey, and among the Star Wars people, nobody's talking about visions. Like, we're really in that.
Yeah.
But we
Digging
do.
here.
We do thank you guys, though, for actually watching this. I normally don't have to say that on our shows. I feel that on every show, but I mean, this show more than ever. I appreciate the people that are hanging in there while we review Visions. Because again, I do think that you could get something out of this. I think that people should, if you're a Star Wars fan, I think Ted has a point that if it is a legit Star Wars project, whether it's movies, TV, comics, whatever, people should be talking about it. Now, I know not last season, season 1, when we did that, it's kind of like, well, if people don't talk about it, it might go away. And you'd be like, really? But yeah, I think this is good. So I'm really looking forward to, next week when we review episode 3, the 9th something.
Jedi.
And it'll be interesting because it's a sequel to something from, I think it's another season 1.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's another season 1 project. What might be fun is if you do your usual, like, you're coming over a good chunk of time, like an hour before, we could actually watch the original and then
then watch the sequel.
Yeah. Because remember, we were going to try to do that with the duel, but neither one of us had time.
Right. True.
It might be interesting. All right, well, as always, it's about you guys. What do you think of Visions, both as a series, and then, of course, this particular episode? You guys think it was good? You think it was bad? whatever you guys thought of this episode, we want to hear about it. Of course, you still have about 20, 30 seconds to throw something in the chat really quick. If you're not watching live and you're watching after the fact, please put it in the comments section. Let us know what you are thinking. And yeah, we're going to, I think, have a really good time, good or bad, reviewing each one of these episodes. So don't forget to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because you're going to want to know when we go live. Sometimes our schedule changes. If you hit the notification bell, and you can personalize the recommendations, you don't have to get every recommendation. And then, you know, we can all go from there. Visions is only... Oh, I should plug this. Our Thanksgiving episode.
Yes.
Yes. Our Thanksgiving episode's coming up in a couple of weeks. So we'll still do the Sunday or Monday episode that week where we're doing Visions. It'll probably be like episode 4. We'll still do that. But then the night before Thanksgiving, that Wednesday night, we'll be doing a special show like we do every year. And our topic is, what was our favorite? Is it the best scene?
Well, the best scenes.
Best scene.
Each...
So is it scenes or scene from each trilogy?
So best scenes from each film of the trilogies.
Ah. But
so
is it one scene per movie, or is it
one
multiple?
Scene per? Yeah,
all
so
right.
One scene from Phantom Menace, one scene from Attack of the Clones, so on and so forth.
Well, that's a little easier. That's actually a little easier. At first,
all the
I
way
thought you were
through.
going to make me boil it down to like one scene per trilogy.
Oh, no. No, that would be really difficult. No, it's one scene per film.
Yeah.
Out of all 3 trilogies.
Yeah, okay. So episodes 1 through 6.
Oh, 1 through 9.
Well, yeah. Well, you know, the sequel trilogy is just...
Yeah.
Like I said, 1 through 6. No.
I
I thought you meant official, like ones that actually no. Yeah, all right. Episodes 1 through 9 each. So basically, it's going to be 9 scenes from each of us. Oh, that's going to be fun because that could be a long show. Buckle up, everybody. At least nobody has to work the next day. At least I don't think so. All right, yeah. So make sure that you guys check out our Thanksgiving, like pre-Thanksgiving episode. That's going to be a lot of fun. The best scene from each movie of the 3 trilogies. And then, of course, as always, next week we'll be doing episode 3 of Vision. So with that, I'm Eric Vansel.
I'm Daryl Sanders.
May the Force be with you.
Always.
Head to Head, a Star Wars podcast. Be sure to follow us on Twitter @HeadToHeadSW. Submit your questions for our next show. Visit our official website at headtoheadswpodcast.com. Until next time, may the Force be with you, always.